Good
morning. Let's
All right. All right. So, all right. Welcome to the Solution Podcast, the place where we discuss um, if we find solution to our everyday problems in a constructive way. Today, we're going to discuss the recent report by the Auditor General with regards to its finding at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management (ODPEM), in which less than 2% of funds raised for it to date, and we are what now? More 6 months, over 6 months since the hurricane has passed. Um, Donna, when you saw that news, I think it came out yesterday in both major newspapers. What first came to mind?
honestly, good evening, good afternoon, morning, Dr. Gillens, and thank you for having me, Andrew. As in regards to the question that you asked, to be honest, what came to mind was I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. Now I live here in New York, so Jamaican. So I am aware. I have been awoken and I'm aware. So I was mad after realizing I knew this was gonna happen, and then I became angry and mad. But I got over it.
I, for me, it wasn't a surprise because I just wrote an article 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, to the same exact thing, and people came down my throat as though I did wrong. Um, I don't believe that the government, the state, has the capacity to deal with donor donor level contributions. Uh, when when I am here in the diaspora working hard for my dollar, and I take it and put it into an account that the government of Jamaica, whichever government is in power, it doesn't matter whether it's a JLP or PNP, whichever government is in power, they don't have the ability to, one, account for that money in a good way, because we've seen the track record over the years. Two, their system cannot take the money that I intend to pass on to a family and get it done. They can't do that because they don't have that ability to do that. Three, they can't report to me if I were an organization sending $100,000 to this account. They can't report to me that they give Tom, Dick, and Harry $50, $100, $200 so that I can return and respond to the IRS to show that I gave that money to those families. They don't have donor level ability to expend dollars into the communities that we in the diaspora intend for it. The best way for me to spend my dollar is to go to an organization that's doing work on the ground and say, organization, I'm giving you $100,000. Please tell me how you spend it at the end of the day so that I can report to the IRS. Other than that, I am throwing money into the wind. So therefore, what came out yesterday was something that happened in burial. They still have money in the account that they received from the burial hurricane. They still have money through, and it has not been spent. So therefore, I have to assume, and when I say that I don't suggest that diaspora put money into government account, I mean that. And I mean it from the perspective that I think that I have the responsibility, I have the ability, and I have the responsibility to suggest to diaspora not to do it. I've been in this space for 35, 37, 38 years. So that's, I wasn't surprised. I'm happy that it did, because it showed us what our systems are incapable of doing. Systems do exactly what you want them to do, and if you don't have the proper funnels and filter and the proper principles in place, then it's not going to happen. It's going to break down. It's the way it is.
I totally agree with you, Dr. Gilling. I remember when the hurricane hit, and the Pollyanna Project was founded under, and our curriculum basically is education, providing school support need to start the children off in school. We've been doing that for 33 years. And when Hurricane Melissa hit, initially, it's not what we do. It was a massive hurricane, but then my sponsors and my donors start saying, Donna, what is a Pollyanna going to be doing? And I didn't know what to do, because based upon Jamaica's history, as Dr. Gilling says, they do not have the ability and the capacity to delegate. And so, as a licensed organization in Jamaica, under the government, I believe that they should have reached out to smaller organizations like us who gets the job done. We have willing and able people who will go out and get the job done. We did that. We did that twice, right, Andrew? We went to St. Elizabeth. We knew that they would not get the food. We knew the government wouldn't. And so we stepped in ahead of the government, saying we're going to get these resources to the people. That we did. Now we're hoping that the money and the funds that were collected by the government would have now provided homes, the necessary for these children with the amount, or these families with the amount of money that was collected. And to hear 7 months later that the money is the cash, it's the cash, we're just talking about the cash that was collected, is still sitting in the government's account, and family do not have homes. Roads are not being fixed. The infrastructure is being delayed. Why? When there is money there to do that. It's very disheartening for me, because it's like we went in and did our part. Now the government has not done their part. And so I am really angry as someone who has done 2 mission trips for the victims of Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica. I'm really upset about this news.
We've had hurricanes in 1944, 1951, 1988. We have so many different hurricanes. And you would think that those hurricanes provided data for us to determine how to make things better, to be able to set firm frameworks into place, to make sure that we use that data to upgrade what it is that we do every year. This is not the first time in our history that I've heard that money is still sitting in ODPEM. It's not the first. This has been going on for the longest time, but nothing ever changed. Well, I mean, we still see, we don't do enough preparations before a hurricane. We still see zinc on the side of the street and light posts falling down and electricity crowd, and then the hurricane come and make it worse, and then the tree will fall down, come down with the landslide, start serving as a roundabout and that thing, because everything is normalized. And so if those things are not happening, meaning that if our our local government or government is not doing the work to upgrade based on prior experience, then why should I be comfortable putting money into an account that they haven't managed in the first place? And so I will continue to defend my statement that Diaspora should not put money into government account, because it's going to go to consolidated account, or it's going to sit there for a long time until, we don't know what happened to it. I'm so happy to hear that, because the Auditor General did one audit earlier this year and showed us that there were money sitting in Beryl. They did another audit this year about the funds that were used to purchase Starlink devices that didn't go anywhere, right? And because the proper preparations were not done. So why would it be okay for me to say, okay, it's okay to put money into government's account? I would never do that. And I would never ask anybody in the diaspora to do that, because I know that they work hard, just like the people in Jamaica. They work darn hard to make sure that their dollar serves the purpose that they want to do. And it's not gonna, and if it's sitting there, it's not happening the way that they had intended it in the first place.
But Dr. Gilling, I am hearing online, particularly, persons who are primarily supporters of the government saying, this is why you need the NARA bill to be passed. Do you agree that it is no proof that we need to fast track the NARA bill that will fast track the execution of government projects in this case?
Do you know how many laws have been passed to fill gaps in Jamaica? How many bills have been passed into laws that said that we are going to fix roads in Jamaica? Countless. All right. And the ODPEM is, first of all, let me make it straight to you. I have not read the NARA bill, but I've listened to both sides. And one of the things that the opposition's side is saying is that there's not enough guardrails in there. And I don't think fast track and guardrails are dissimilar. If you want to fast track, you can still have guardrails to fast track. There's nothing wrong with that. And what I am hearing is that, and I'm telling you I'm hearing, and I don't think I should be giving too much opinions about my position on it because I did not read the bill, right? But what I'm hearing is that people, the Prime Minister has the single authority to do or not to do, and I am saying that the Prime Minister has had that because ODPEM is in his portfolio, right? So therefore, if ODPEM, which is the disaster preparedness account, then Prime Minister could have given ODPEM the okay to spend that money, because he's the one who said to us when he came to New York a month ago that the money is being spent the way that we want it to be spent. He says it's if the money that was donated to the account is being effectively spent the way that it is expected to. So that means more than 2% had to have been spent. It means that he said that the money is being used for example, roofs, to repair roofs of people, victims and so forth. That means a lot of money had been spent out of the account. But as we saw yesterday, only less than 2% has been spent. So I don't know. And I don't want to compare what the opposition is saying and what the government is saying and not having a chance to read the NARA bill. So that's why I haven't written anything about it.
Unfortunately, I just had to Google what the NARA bill was about, and
Donna, what Dr. Gilling has just said.
yeah, I have it in front of me.
Do you
Go ahead.
do?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, so I was saying that. Do you think that the consolidation of power at the office of the Prime Minister, there's a super ministry, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Do you think that is too much? It is too much of a risk, and we're somewhat going towards the direction of a more autocratic mindset, whereby power is so centrally concentrated. Because I remember throughout history, we know the PNP is more of a socialist ideology, the JLP is more of a capitalist. But the idea is that power is too spread out, and therefore you tend not to get things done quicker and not in a more coordinated fashion. And we are now seeing with our Prime Minister where there seems to be this direction to consolidate as much operations under one umbrella, which critics is saying they basically leave the other institutions redundant then, basically. Is that the way to go, in your view? Or do you think that, either way, you just need to be efficient?
Well, I will answer your question, Andrew, thinking about my organization. And I will say that really, at some point, you're going to get burnt out if that is the way you're going to go. Delegation, we must have person that is going to help to delegate. And that is the reason why you have subordinates and those persons who are extension of your organization. So if that is so less work will be done. Or less work will be done and I'm not familiar with Jamaica politics, I must apologize. But less work will be done. So I don't agree with that narrative at all. We need more people to get the work done. We need people who will be accountable for those persons who they are delegating these work to. But if you're thinking you're consolidating and you're going to be in charge of everything, people are going to suffer. People are going to suffer. It's not going to get done, right, Dr. Gillings?
So here's an example.
Yes.
In our United States, the president has sued the IRS for $10 billion because the IRS released its tax returns in 2019, $10 billion. Now, this is something that not even the forefathers had even thought about, that the president could turn around and sue the same entity that he is in charge of. That doesn't even make any sense, right? You generally, that does not happen. You don't think about that. So you give the power to someone who is trying to find a way how to beat the system to put money into his pocket. That is dangerous, right? It is dangerous because now the court is saying, I don't have jurisdiction. And then what happened yesterday in the paper was that they're trying to find a way now to go around the court and make a settlement between the IRS and the president to get the $10 billion without the court involved. So what that means, here is a president who has found a way to take money from the American people in a way that has never been done before. When you give power to people, to one person, rather than decentralizing power, it makes for dangerous grounds, and there's no turning back, because there are times when you can't sue, and there are times that lawsuits come late and the court comes in late, and you can only pine after what has occurred. And so it's important that proper guardrails are set up. I don't care about speed. I care about the job being done, because if you have a plan to get the job done, and you have the guardrails in place that protects me, the authority, and everybody else who has a signature, then there's nothing wrong with it. Because what are we going to do? Wait until everybody takes money out of the kitty, and then we go and ask the Auditor General to do the thing, and then people can't find the resources and the evidence and the thing. I mean, that's too much. We need to put the guardrails in place and make sure that the system that we're putting in place, the frameworks that we're putting in place, works, that we can decentralize funding and make sure that proper people have the proper amounts to fund the projects that we're doing. That's the most important thing. Frameworks are very important. Systems are very important. And we set up systems so that it protects the people who are working inside of it. That's it. I think we lost Andrew.
Again, I agree with you. That's the only way we can get work done, with the proper structure, the proper systems in place for accountability and transparency.
Transparency is the single most important thing when you're dealing with money, when you're dealing with law, when you're dealing with safety and protection. People must be transparent. The law has to be transparent upfront, not after. Transparent upfront, and so that what that transparency lead to is accountability, and so that people can trust what you say. Exactly. People can trust what you say because there is paperwork to back up everything that you say.
Exactly. And I believe that I really and truly at times want to blame us, the people itself, because we know the history of the government. We know that, but yet we still go back and put money into them for us to get right here again. When there were organizations, there were some credible organizations that would have gone out, that were willing to go out and get the work done on behalf of the government. Remember how you have so much licensed charities that have a transparency record, and the evidence is there that they get the work done. But it has not been delegated to these organizations. And obviously the government of Jamaica do not want to delegate it to their own persons. So listen to me. I hope that we, the people, learn from this. Let this be the final time that this thing will happen.
I think we kind of turned back on the NARA bill because he wanted your answer to be on the NARA bill. So, but yeah.
Yes, but as I said, go ahead. I am not sure about the NARA bill as you have received it. I've just heard about it. So yeah.
No. I just want to add that, as a former government employee, I spent 11 years working in government, and one of the challenges I have with whether it's a minister, whether it's a board of director, chairman of the board, whether it's a CEO, but especially those the public servants. those who are part of the ministers' circles, they tend to come into these roles in most cases, based on my personal experience, very ignorant of the law that governs the public service and how you function. So they will come and they will say to a CEO, this needs to be done. And a CEO who is very knowledgeable, or a permanent secretary, they will know say it cannot be done this way. No, it needs to be done now and whatnot. They said, no, this is the process. Now, the technocrat who is a civil servant or the CEO, they know the ins and outs, and they will simply say to them, I am not saying that it cannot be done. All I'm saying to you, it has to be done this way. And because of the little power that they have, Leo, they now start to, we need to get rid of this person because not following instructions.
Yes.
And I'm saying, we are not saying it cannot be, we're not going to do it. We're just simply saying to you that these are the steps that must be taken for it to be done, because we have to protect
accountability.
Us, we have to protect you, we have to protect the minister, we have to protect the government. You understand? For some reason, these persons find it difficult. Yes. So listen, when PJ Patterson said the law is not a shackle, when I went in government, I realized that, because when you speak to an auditor, the auditor is saying to you that, listen, the money is, you get the money to spend. You get the money is approved for you to spend. We are just simply saying
you have to follow this. You have to follow this.
Follow the rules, and these are the rules.
So listen,
right?
So listen.
Beer and then come to the conclusion. Exactly.
So Andrew.
So my thing, hold on. So my thing is this: you will never eliminate nepotism in any country, anywhere in the world.
You have to reduce it.
You will never. But if you follow the rules, nobody can say you were in breach, you are corrupt, because you follow the rules. So if I know somebody who is a very good painter, I am not going to give them a plumbing job. It's as simple as that. You understand me? And they present the proper documentation, and the auditor will not have any problem. Did you get value for money? Fine. Right? The auditor doesn't even have an issue if you choose the highest bidder. You know? You must explain to the auditor that this is why you chose the highest bidder. Based on history, relationship, quality, delivery, efficiency, all of that. Once you put that in the report, the auditor will have zero concern. The issue is with these persons who are part of the minister's inner circle, who just want to tell a CEO or a permanent secretary to do whatever they want to do, and they must get without carefully following the rules, and that is a problem.
Well, listen to this. You remember about?
I was very happy when Dr. Nigel Clark, former finance minister, the number of persons serve on boards, because you had one person serving on 7 boards. There's no way you can be effective.
Okay. Do you remember the case?
Yes, you were saying.
You remember the case of the Starlink purchase, where Starlinks were purchased? I think it was a little bit over 200 Starlink purchases were made. And it was made due to the minister. The minister ordered it done, right? And then after finding out that the proper procedure was not used to purchase the Starlink, and then found out that the Starlink, the devices could not be used because they have different plugs from what is used in Jamaica. So we pretty much wasted the amount of money for those 200 Starlinks, and I don't know how much it is. But the minister was clear in saying that he circumvented. Well, first of all, he didn't say that he circumvented. He later on admitted that he circumvented the system because of the need. And so, to me, what you're saying is that it doesn't matter what the need is, as long as we follow the process to get, because if we had followed the process, then the proper connections would have been made to find out exactly what the cords look like and what the plugs look like, and we would have bought the right stuff and put them in storage and then deliver them. But because we didn't go through the proper process, then everything goes wrong from there. So we spent millions of dollars on 200 Starlink that we would never be able to use, right? And they didn't get to the intended recipients in the first place. So therefore, we just spent money and it's wasted. So if what you're saying is that we need to follow the process so that at the end of it all, we are clear that we did the right thing, and then transparency and accountability are held intact. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it protects everybody.
Yes.
It
Indeed.
protects everybody. And that's what I have been saying all along. They just need to just follow the process and be proactive in your planning. So for example, immediately after the hurricane, as you said earlier in the beginning, this is not our first time dealing with a natural disaster. Almost every year we have a natural disaster, right? So if you activate those nodes that will fast track the process, then you bring the team in. If you need extra staff, you employ some people temporarily, you bring in some people who are retired but have knowledge of the system, you bring them in temporarily. All of those things can happen within a jiffy, right? But then you are able now to fast track the process because you are following the procedure, right? And that's just where the problem lies.
Well, there's another problem here too.
The approach we are hearing, the approach we are getting from even the NARA bill is that, we just need to get these things quick and fast. And I hear the argument about, the CEO would have to report to, I think, the Prime Minister or whoever, or report to a board, I believe. And I get all of that, right? But my thing is that, and I'm not hearing anybody speaking about it, is that where there is clear negligence, where that can be proven that there was clear negligence by the CEO, will that person lose their job?
we shouldn't.
Where there is a clear lack of knowledge in the operation, will that person lose his or her job? Because my thing is this, I have been hearing it for many, many years now in government. Too many times the people who are in the positions, they simply get a slap on the wrist, and that's it. People do not lose their job in government for being negligent
or corruptive.
That part.
It's very important.
And when you're in certain key positions, I believe that should be acknowledgement or misappropriation of funds, but just gross negligence. I mean, you have persons at senior level in government, they will tell you that, I didn't know, nobody said anything to me. In certain circumstances, if you're in the private sector, you will be fired because you should know. But not knowing is not an excuse.
But firing is a last resort, though, Andrew. Why not put the systems in place? Okay, so if we were following Beryl and see what Beryl had brought to us last year, and it's not like it's yesterday, Starlinks have been out there. Starlink's been out there for 5 years. We know Starlink's been out there. Why is it that we also know that Jamaica is going to be hit with a Category 5 storm, hurricane? And why didn't we get those Starlinks before if we know that communication always breaks down after a storm? Why is it that we didn't plan for it? Why didn't we update our systems to say, hey, what are we going to need just in case the hurricane 5 is going to take out all of our electricity, all of our communication equipment? What else can we do? That's what we do in planning and preparing and getting systems in place so that we know based on what happened ahead of us, so that we can plan for what's coming ahead. Ask your question now. Ask your question now, because we're going into a hurricane season as of June 1. What has Jamaica done to prepare us for the next hurricane? And ask that question, because we learned that we need Starlink devices. That we spent $200,000 on Starlink devices, $200,000 US on Starlink devices, right? Now, are we purchasing new Starlink devices that's going to work in case we have another Category 5 storm? Are we going to go around and take up the zinc fences that can chop off people's head if they're flying in the air, or the electricity cords that are sitting down there, or the potholes that can swallow up a camel? Are we doing things in preparation for? No, we're not.
No.
We're just going to wait until the end of the storm, and who comes out ahead of it will find a way how to find a pot on the stove, and we're going to call that resilience. That's not resilience. Resilience is the preparation that we do before the storm hits, so that if it hits, that we can absorb it, or we can use communication to withstand it, that kind of thing. That's what resilience is. Resilience is not finding the Starlink after the storm. It's having the Starlink before the storm, so that they can provide the people and they can keep abreast with what's going on in the storm, during the storm. Preparation, resilience is making sure that every household that has a roof has the clips that hold down the roof and the windows that won't break during the storm, those kind of things. That's resilience. We are preparing and we are planning for that. When the hurricane come and all of them think they fly away and stuff, that's not resilience. Just because somebody go find one Starlink can serve 5 people at the end of the storm, that does not prepare ourselves nationally. Nationally is having an understanding that the storm is down there at the south of Kingston, and when it comes in, it will walk through Kingston to St. Mary to St. Andrew, and that we have to be prepared for. That's what I'm talking about. So we need to stop thinking about, Jamaica needs to stop thinking about what happens after the storm, and start thinking about what can we do before the storm to prepare for the storm. It's totally different things. One is emotional reaction, and the other one is a response.
Solid points there, Dr. Leo. Donna, how can Pollyanna be more proactive to assist Jamaicans?
Who's Pollyanna?
In cases like this.
Okay, he asked the question.
Or for the next hurricane. That's right.
Dr. Gilling, so Pollyanna,
how other charities like Pollyanna can be proactive?
To answer your question, Dr. Gilling, the Pollyanna Project have been around for 33 years. It started out as a Christmas treat, and we recognize that Christmas comes once a year, but education is all year round. And 2 years into that, we turn it into a back to school where we have been giving students, children in Jamaica, the supplies for them. We have gone as far, we have grown over the last 33 years, and we have been building learning centers in Jamaica and of course in Africa. As a matter of fact, we're on our way to Sierra Leone in a couple of weeks to complete a learning center that the Pollyanna Project have built. It's going to be outfitted with computers and did I lose somebody? I think I lost my.
I'm here still. I think
Okay.
I'm here. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here still. Go ahead.
Have been.
No.
Okay, great. So we're about to open a learning center where we are outfitting it with sewing machines and computers and solar panels in a remote village in the country of Sierra Leone. So the question was asked, what can Pollyanna do in situation disasters as this in Jamaica? We have done it. We came out, and initially 1 week after we loaded, we sent a container to Jamaica. It was not easy, and I can tell you, for an organization such as here, it was very difficult to get the assistance of the government of Jamaica to help us, to the point where we had to make 2 trips. We did not receive the items in a timely manner, and of course we reached out to the government, the ODPEM, to see if we could get help, and help did not come. And so we had to leave Jamaica and return a month later for the goods, even though the goods were in Jamaica while we were there in December. I honestly, Andrew, it was frustrating. It's frustrating because when we are doing anything for Jamaica, it is the hardest thing. But when we're doing it for other country, we do not come up on these challenge. So what can Pollyanna Project do? I really and truly don't know. Based upon even hearing this news, it goes right back to saying that I don't know why it is so hard for the government of Jamaica to help us, the organization, not just Pollyanna, but those organizations who are actually doing the work, who are actually going out there on the ground. I was there with my entire team. You were there, Andrew, seeing what we actually do. You have been seeing what we've been doing for the last how many years. So we will continue to participate if we can, but things has to be done to help us, to make us want to do more in Jamaica. This has to come from the government of Jamaica. We cannot. It's the hardest thing. It's so frustrating. I don't go through this frustration when I go to Africa. Honestly, I don't. It's seamless. Once we ship them, it's delivered to their location. The people in the village, they receive it. Period. I just go, be a part of it, and to ensure transparency and accountability. That's it.
A different kind of problem, right?
And really and truly, it's not even a problem. It really is not a problem.
No, a different kind of problem in Jamaica that is.
Yes. So Andrew, as much as I'm a Jamaican, I want to help, but we are tied. It's like we are put on the bottom of the chain where we cannot do anything because we're restrained.
I hear you, and it's been one of those hassles. I think that one of the ways that we have operated over the years is that
this again.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Andrew.
There is, again, coming from my experience working in government, in most cases, there's a disconnect between what our elected officials say, we call it optics, versus what the reality is on the ground. So, we make announcement, okay, we think this, there has been hurricanes. Did we do the groundwork first to ensure that they are properly staffed? Did we implement the online infrastructure that will fast track those processes, right? So we tend to say things that sounds good, looks good. The agency that is executing tasked with executing that job. You hear all the problems now, right? We don't have to do it was a functioning properly from day one, right?
That's what we're talking about. Oh.
And
you're talking about systems.
We just as our elected officials just need to understand me. Don't too focus much on the ops. Just
focus on the work.
Just do it properly. That's all we need to do. So before I make an announcement, if I am a minister, before I make an announcement, I am going to ensure that all the systems are in place, right? You have an emergency meeting with the CEO and the permanent secretaries of the ministry department and agencies under that ministry, and I say, what is it that you need? You understand me? What is your most productive day? Explain to me what that looks like. Okay, we want to double it. We want to triple it. And what will it take? Higher level, greater speed, greater efficiency, right? While at the same time ensuring that you're not breaching the law.
I don't know that you said the right thing there, right? Right, Andrew. I think that before a minister make an announcement, the most important thing for him to do is to make sure that the framework is in place for that announcement, so that he has the people in place, they're trained, the devices, the equipment, all in place, and that the law is going to support what it is that they say that they're going to do. Because everything that the minister is supposed to do is supposed to be done according to the law, right? So therefore, before they make an announcement, the funding is in place, the equipment is in place, the people are in place, the people are trained, and all of these things are in place so that the framework is set. And once the framework is set, then he makes his announcement and all the funding goes into it and things work. That's the way that it goes. So what happens, anything goes wrong down the line, the framework is set to be able to absorb that type of any kind of happening that's happening down the road. The framework is what protects the integrity of that new bill or that new law or that new activity that they're putting into place. Not the PS or any employees, but rather specific to that role, that thing that he's putting into play. All the people should be in place. All the funding should be in place. There are a lot of times ministers go out and make an announcement, oh, we are going to do this, or we are going to do that, and you never hear it again. That's because they never had any plan to do it. They're just sending out stuff for people to say, hey, my minister is going to do this. But if you go into any other land and a congressman or a senator, mostly a congressman, says, I am going to do this in my constituency, he already got the funding for it, and he already got the employees and the people and leaders in place that they are going to execute this right there and then. That's the way law works. That's the way ministers are supposed to work, right? You don't just come out and just say things and it's gone by the wayside. You just say it just for the media. And also Sankey Sink. And also Sankey Sink at all. My mother always said that. You go out and put the work into play and put the framework into play so that it can absorb any problems down the line later. That's how we know it.
Amen. Totally agree with you, Dr. Gilling, on that. It has to be a framework in place in order for the structure to stand. That structure in which you're building. If it's simple. It really is simple, right? It's just like building. If the framework is not in place, and if the framework is shaky, the building falls, the building collapses. So you are correct, and this should be a standard application to everything that we do.
Yeah, just look at what kind of plans we're going into. June 1. Our hurricane season starts, and I've said this before. What will happen? What is going to happen if June 2 we have a Category 4 hurricane coming up? What are we going to do? And we're just going to wait there and see who's gonna live, right? And we make a big news about who passed away.
The scripture that came to me is right now is for lack of a vision, a people perish. So there is a lack of visionaries that are head of departments or government. There is no vision. So they're just winging it. They cannot see ahead how they're going to build. They can't even see the framework. So for a lack of vision, this is what is happening. People are perishing because these organizations who should be the head not doing what they're supposed to do.
Agreed. We'll wait for Andrew.
I think also one of the things, it's a human thing, but you see it so much with politicians all over the world throughout history. Sorry about that. Okay, I can go ahead now.
Yes.
You hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Right. So I was saying that throughout history, what you find is that politicians have power, and I think they're just so caught up with the fact that I am in charge. For if it says you should just do so without step, almost like an army, right? When the truth of the matter is that you should spend some time understanding and appreciation for the system that is in place, because that will now protect your integrity. You never lose sight that the system is there to protect you. And I think that would be the approach first and foremost. And if you notice, people like yourself, Leo and Donna, before making an announcement, this is what we would do. You will go in, speak to the technocrats, ask them, what is it that can be done to boost production and efficiency. You understand me? Before we make that announcement. I think that amongst politicians, we tend to just get up and say, I am in charge. I am the minister for this, or I am the prime minister or the president. This is what we're going to do. Right? And I don't think there is this, broad consultation where we could develop a proper blueprint to deal with things like this. And that is why we keep having these problems. And the truth of the matter is that this is how you accumulate a lot of waste. Me?
Oh, of course.
And we just have to start to look at follow the procedure. Yeah, just follow the procedure, and you can be efficient, you can be productive, you can double your production capacity. But just follow the procedure and just have respect for that, rather than get caught up in your head that I am the minister. I don't even remember the story, Leo. A couple years ago, an Indian minister, I think the Indian, and his phone fell in Hermitage and Mona is like a little bucket, right, to those dams, right? And the minister ordered the crew to empty the dam.
To get him phone.
That is what I'm talking about. How we get caught up in the little power that we have. You understand me? If that phone stay under the bottom of the dam, I can tell you that by the time anybody can retrieve that, you can't extract any information from off that phone. It would be of no use.
Is Ambassador Donna gonna stay with us for the next segment? Say yes.
I raised that example just to make the point.
Yeah, I well, as you said that, this saying has been in my head ever since.
No.
Right. And it is a powerful person who seeks power never have it in the first place, Andrew. Right? Never have it in the first place. So
what you just say is very powerful, because the power has to come from you. It's not from the title.
It's not from it's not from the title. So a lot of that is out there. They don't have it, but they give an appearance of it.
I agree.
Right. So Andrew, let me know when it's time for me to go.
We wanted to stay on.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to wrap. No, so I just want to tell you thanks.
Oh wow!
We're going to go into another segment with Dr. Gilling. We're going to go into another segment.
And Andrew, you should be doing something on Positive Radio, seriously. So we must talk more about that as well.
Yes, sure.
This political view, it would add quality.
Yes, man, for sure. Well,
definitely would. All right. So, Dr. Gilling, it has been a pleasure to
certainly
have this conversation. Eye-opening. You're sending me now to go and study Jamaican politics. I'm backing away from the challenge. To learn, but yeah. So
I'm very happy to know that your project is doing well. I applaud you for being there, to sticking with it, because philanthropy, charity over extended period of time is not an easy thing. You have to have that internal drive, and to know that you're going to be successful to come back another year to do the same thing over and over again. So I have to applaud you for that. And you've extended from Jamaica to Africa, and you're doing well. I so love to hear that. Really, really, really do. So let's keep in touch.
it's not only just giving out supplies. We have given out awards to a medical students, grants to a medical student. She's now a doctor at the Spanish Town Hospital. Last year, our organization gifted a young lady for her nursing school $1 million to complete her. So she's in the UTech right now doing her nursing degree. And we have been doing this. So the reason why I have no idea, right, Andrew, why nobody hears about the Pollyanna Project and we don't get the support. And we have been out here doing the work. But now that I know Dr. Gillings, I'm pretty sure that we will get some more support from your end.
Exactly. Please keep in touch. Let's keep in touch.
I will.
And we'll pass on your number with them.
Absolutely. All right. So have a good day. Let me go and continue. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Andrew, that was great.
So let me get out. Let me close it out.
All right.